each single moment gives us a choice that reflects whether we are aligning with the personality, ego, or aligning with the soul. And aligning with the soul leads to authentic power. And aligning with the ego or personality leads to external power, and that is artificial power. That is power that is not only draining us, but also draining everybody else around us. And to make these choices, or that choice, is not very easy. It is when we investigate it in the depth, it is always a choice between love and fear. Fear is driven by the personality, by the ego, and love is coming from the soul. Accumulation of money, external power, using women or men, manipulating, lying, all of those things are fear-based, are needs of the personality, and those needs are artificial. And everything that is to love, to be loved, to feel compassionate, to be creative, to express oneself honestly, authentically, that is authentic power. And that uplifts our own experience in life and others. We gain power, we gain real internal power by making the choice of love and dropping the needs of the ego, dropping the need to gain attention, and all of the previously mentioned things. Now, that choice is not easy. I am not here to give a false image of myself or anybody that we master that, or that is an easy thing, and not at all. That is an ongoing process, because we incarnated here on earth to be exposed to that temptation, the temptation of the ego and personality. And perhaps the closer we move to the soul, the more we have an awareness of the soul, the more we are tempted to go against it. The more we have the temptation to satisfy the need of the ego. And that is to test our real strength, that the more awareness we have, the more light we perceive, we feel within us, the more the darkness will also try to get its hold on us. Or not even try, that sounds like there is an entity or a devil that wants bad from us. I don't see it that way, but the darkness inside of our own being, personality, is just being more visible, more perceived. We can see it clearer. Somebody who is unconsciously moving in their life in their reactive behavior of the ego, using people, women, substances, all of these kinds of things, they are very unconscious in it. And they don't even make a choice in that unconsciousness. But the closer we perceive the soul, the more we separate from that artificial self, the more responsibility we hold to actually choose. And when we actively, consciously choose, we are no more reacting. We are taking a breath before we text that ex. We are taking a breath before we express our anger violently towards someone. We take a breath before we use another human being to satisfy sexual needs. We take a breath before we try to perform or project something that is not honest, something dishonest to the world in order to gain attention. We take a breath and we feel, is that the need of the ego? Is that the need of the personality? Or is that coming from the soul? And that choice makes a very big difference. It leads, as I said, to authentic power, to true authentic movement within us and in the world. It sets free a vibrational energy that helps us to attract what the real need of the soul is, because the universe acts to satisfy the needs of the soul, not the needs of the ego, the needs of the soul. So we always have opportunities to be deeply loved and to deeply love, for example. But if we squander that opportunity by choosing the path of our ego, then we do not get to experience that effortless fulfillment of the needs of the soul. And we try harder and we put in more effort to keep that ego alive. And that is not a nice way of living. So that is, the goal is to drop in every moment the need of the ego, to see it, to detach from it. And our emotions are very, very crucial in that thing. Everything that creates negative emotion is coming from the personality. As I said, fear. Fear is the basis. That goes over into guilt and regret and shame and all of the negative emotions. There's a huge scale. It doesn't matter how we name them. But we perceive a negative emotion. We feel and experience a negative emotion if we are in the pursuit of satisfying the need of the ego. And we feel bliss and deep peace, calmness, if we pursue the need of the soul. And we can do a lot of healing modalities and meditation and breath work, and those things are extremely crucial and helpful. But the biggest thing to make the distinction between personality and soul is to actively act on the soul, on the need of the soul. Every time we go into action, or we should actually call it reaction, because there is never authentic action from the ego. It's something we react on. It's a repetitive pattern. It's not a conscious free choice. But anyways, if we act on that, react on the ego, we cloud our perception of ourselves, of our soul. We get more and more clouded until we are confused in this world, do not really know anymore who am I and who is my soul and who what is true and what is artificial. We move in the valley of darkness. And every time we make a conscious choice to align with the soul, we gain more clarity, we gain more presence, more light, more bliss, more peace. And as I said, the temptation will be big. The temptation will come probably stronger than before, or maybe not stronger, but we are more aware of it. And these choices are small choices, day to day, the way we interact with a lover, with the family, with what we do, but also, why do we choose the work we do, the job we do? To accumulate money, to get more money, to feel safe? Is that kind of acquiring safety in that way, is that coming from the soul or from the personality? And that can change our life in a big way, to really ask that, to really get clarity on that. And that leads to purpose, the purpose of the soul. And it might be hard to, make that conscious choice to go into the purpose of the soul and face that deep fear of survival and eventually changing the job or making it differently, in a different way, being more authentic to what the soul here wants to do and not what society asks us to do, and to be very honest with oneself. And for me personally, breathwork, movement, probably these two, nature, those things are incredibly potent for me to help me distinguish between the two, to separate. It's almost as if water and oil, water representing our soul, our true self, and oil, the artificial self, as if we have been shaking it up, not really seeing what is what. And through breathwork, through calmness in nature, through movement, conscious movement, we start to stop shaking that bottle, and the oil comes towards the surface. The bad emotions, the jealousy, the craving of attention, the unloved child within us, the anger, the fear, it comes slowly to the surface, and we can clearly see, oh, okay, I've been acting for a long time on an artificial need, on my ego and personality, and I completely left behind my soul. I ignored it, and that created the illness, the injury physically, that creates the emotional pain, the depression. The crisis in the world is a manifestation of that internal conflict. Everything external is a reflection of that internal conflict, of the internal confusion, of the internal pain. And the moment we start coming back to consciously choose, that is when the external world will resolve itself, when it will find back balance, and when we take back charge in our life, So instead, when we face a crisis or a pain or a breakup or a loss of money or whatever it is that we face outwardly, if the ego always wants to change the external circumstances, it's never rarely happy with it. So that is the ego choice. I'm gonna change, I'm gonna get the next girlfriend, I'm gonna get the next boyfriend, I just need to get laid, I just need to make more money, I just need to have a bigger house, a nicer car, blah blah blah. That is ego choice. And if we go inwardly and if we choose the need of the soul, which is not about the external world, then we actually change our external experience on the causal point. On the causal point, there where the real root lies of our external reflection. And that is when we take back charge of our life experience, when we are really back in charge. So making that choice every day, every moment, every second, having a choice, and probably before reacting or acting, taking a breath and asking ourselves, where is that need coming from? Is that action, what need is it reflecting? What need is it fulfilling? Authentic need or artificial need? Am I feeding my artificial self or my true self? My lower self or my higher self? One leads to the abundance and love and creativity that we really seek, we, the soul, our true self. That's what we truly want. And one, the other life, it brings the abundance and the love, which is mostly attachment and stuff, that we thought we seek, but that turns out as being one big illusion, and that makes us hit rock bottom pretty soon afterwards. And then we would create the next set of needs that we try to fulfill. And as you might believe or see, that will not go well again. So we always have a choice, and we have the choice right now. And I really wish that whoever is listening, that has a little bit of an impact, or maybe bigger impact. It does on my life. I'm in practice of it myself, daily trying, failing here and there, definitely. Still trying to gain attention many times, seeing that there is a part of me that wants to gain attention through muscle, movement, Instagram, and then facing that part and seeing, okay, I can let it go and I can detach from it. So I'm in a work in progress myself, and whoever is out there listening and experiencing and wanting to feel more clarity through breathwork or movement, I'm very happy to practice with you, to hear your experience, to exchange, to have conversations. So let me know in the comments or on Instagram or wherever you're led to find me. And that was it for today.